and welcome to the video on local currents as part of the 5.3 neuronal communications topic. So if we're going to look at what local currents are and how they are caused or how they're initiated, it is, and really it's just that the sodium ion channels at one point of the neuron, so I'm going to put sodium ion channel, sodium channel open, and if you've got a higher concentration of sodium at one point of the neuron, it's going to upset the balance of sodium and potassium ions set up by the action potential. I'm just going to go P, but you know it's potassium ions that have already been set up by the action of our. So I'm just going to S&P pumps. So we know that when we're going to try and get our balance of our positive and negative charges back, we're going to be using the sodium and potassium pumps to try and counteract. So we've got a more positive charge on the outside of the neuron and a more negative charge on the inside of the neuron, so we can create that potential difference. So what we're saying here is that by our sodium channels opened at one end of the neuron, we are now going to upset that balance, so the neuron inside won't be as negative as it needs to be for our action potential. So when the sodium ions flood into the neuron, it causes depolarization. And the depolarization is what causes the local current that's in the cytoplasm. So our sodium ions are going to start to begin to diffuse along the neuron towards areas of lower concentrations of sodium ions, because we've created a concentration gradient by opening just a select few of the sodium ion channels. So it's going to diffuse along the neuron to lower concentration because of the concentration gradient. So because of this depolarization, the sodium ion channels further along the membrane will open, so we've got more sodium ion channels opening. So because our sodium channels have started to open now, we are now allowing the action potential to move along the neuron as more sodium ions enter and set up another action potential. And I think that's one of most of the main points there. But I'm just going to go through it again, just because I know this is a bit of a difficult topic for this, and it's easily to get confused with other things. So I'll go through and I'll refer to the diagram a bit more. Okay. So when an action potential occurs, so action potential occurs, sodium ion channels open at a certain point of the neuron. So sodium ions will diffuse across the membrane from a high concentration, from high to low. So which would be from the outside to the inside, which is why we can see here these dots here that I've drawn, they are sodium ions. They're going to diffuse from a higher to lower concentration. So then the concentration of sodium ions inside the cell, we can see that the concentration is going to increase to the point where the sodium ion channels here are going to open. So they continue to diffuse sideways, which is what I've illustrated by this arrow here. That continues to diffuse because it's, again, we've got high to low. So the movement of the charged particles is a current called a local current. So that's all the actual local current is. It's just the movement of the sodium ions from a high to low concentration across the neuron. And this local current causes a slight depolarization of the membrane. Further along, which affects the voltage-gated sodium ion channels, causing them to open. So we've got more sodium channels open. Which allows a rapid influx of sodium ions. So we've got rapid influx of sodium ions. And that causes a full action potential. So further along the neuron, so we can see how a local current can result in an action potential. Okay. And I believe that is all we need to know. And we can see how it just repeats in a cycle. So we're just going to set up another action potential after that. Hope that video helped clarify things a little bit. I would advise after you've watched this video to go and watch generator potentials and resting potentials. Thank you very much.